Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets. Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets. All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell, give 'em a hand, and let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the Mets of New York town, of New York town.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to Talking Mets with Rob with some breaking news right here on the channel. Unfortunately, for the second year in a row, the New York Mets lose a player to injury outside of playing for the New York Mets. Ronny Mauricio, who was hurt on Sunday in the Dominican Winter League. Our worst fears have been confirmed. Has a torn ACL and will be out for the season. And this is another blow to the New York Mets options at third base. Stearns did say that third base was going to be an in-house option. And now the confidence for those in-house options aren't very confident, in my opinion, to just say continue that in-house situation as of right now. Baty, Vientos, Joey Wendell. That doesn't exude confidence at all. And as soon as I heard yesterday that he was flying back to New York to get some further testing, told me right away that it was more serious than people were talking about, because the fact of the matter was that time and time again, and again, this is not just being a Mets homer or just being, in so many different ways, is the fact that these guys play all year round, and there's too much emphasis on letting them play all year round than giving these guys more opportunities to play in the Dominican Winter League, and that just gives more chances of them getting hurt. We saw it with Edwin Diaz in the WBC. We saw it this year in the Dominican Winter League with Ronny Mauricio. At some point, we got to stop these guys from playing all year round, because it's too much of a risk, especially when the Mets were really counting on Ronny Mauricio to be a big part of this 2024 team. And now the Mets are back to a situation where third base is a huge question mark once again, even with Baty, Vientos as two options. That in-house option that David Stearns is talking about, and I know he brought it as an in-house option and an in-house, competition. There was no competition. Ronny Mauricio was going to get the job, and now he is done for the remainder of the season, of the whole season, because of a torn ACL. This is starting to become a huge issue, and it's completely completely annoying at this point because of the fact that, once again, a Mets player that is going to be of importance going into this next season is the fact that, and is, hold on one second, guys. Can you guys hear me? Some people say I'm really loud. Some people say I can't hear at all. Let me just make sure. Give me a second, guys. Can you guys hear me good? Yeah, Jeff. Well, guess what? As a Met fan, that's just the way it is. It seems like a good quote, in my opinion. If you don't like it, go away. That's the way I see it. The fact of the matter is, sorry, Jeff. The fact of the matter is, I saw 5 people say that they couldn't hear me. So I try to speak up, and then I'm blowing your eardrums out. I apologize for that. Okay. No, I'm not sensitive. I'm just stating the facts. And again, if I had a nickel for every time that people said stupid stuff, I'd be rich here too. So with that said, guys, a torn ACL for Ronny Mauricio puts a huge hole at third base. David Stern's in-house option, it can't happen. It can't go down this way. There's got to be a different way. And oh, by the way, guess what? A video is going to pop up at 4 o'clock for just the right guy to sign, who is a free agent. So at 4 o'clock, you're going to see the video pop up, and that's the perfect guy, because in the video that I did a couple hours ago, and I just finished and editing it before this whole news came out with Mauricio, I actually said in the video, if Mauricio is out for a long period of time, which now we know is going to be, this guy, this player is perfect. Well, Jeff, that's no fun. If I tell you, I mean, who is available via free agency that can help the Mets at this moment? Some say Scheller, right? Possibly, maybe a possibly a guy who was a former Met, maybe a trade, even though he is a free agent, but maybe the Mets look to a trade. Ooh, tune in at 4 o'clock. Jeff, they are state secrets. They are. That's the fun part. Yeah, and this is the problem, guys. This is the problem that I have. That I'm sorry, I don't care how much good a shape you're in, baseball shape, fit, young. It doesn't matter. When you play all year around, your body has more of a tendency to get hurt. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And that is the other major problem that I have with this. Now, Ronny Mauricio got hurt actually playing the game. Edwin Diaz got injured from celebrating after a game. So 2 of those are completely different. And at least Ronny Mauricio got hurt playing a game, but he wasn't hurt wearing a New York Mets uniform. He wasn't in the minor leagues playing for the Mets farm system and got hurt. The fact of the matter is, there's too much, oh, it's okay playing in Dominican Winter League. A lot of these guys play all year round. And it doesn't look like that it helps the situation where there's too much risk of an injury and it happens again, right? I don't hear, and I see this all the time, the Yankees do not let their players play in the Dominican Winter League or a lot of them, they don't let them play in the WBC, right? There was a big deal with Cashman not allowing Luis Severino to go to the WBC. Aaron Judge basically said no, but the Yankees weren't going to allow him either. At some point, the Mets have to start saying no to these guys. If you want them to practice in your facility, play inter-squad games, let them do it in Port St. Lucie. Like, you can't get a bunch of 20-year-old minor leaguers together during the offseason and play a game. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous at this point now. And it's a huge problem because the Mets want to be player friendly and this and that. Just tell them no. You are paying their paychecks. If they don't like it, too bad. But you know what? I bet you Ronny Mauricio would have not liked to play if he knew he was going to get hurt. And it's too much of a risk. Too much of a risk to let these guys continue to go. It's unfortunate, guys. It sucks. Well, yeah, and this hurts the Jeff McNeil situation too, right? If the Mets were really thinking about making a trade for a pitcher, a bullpen arm, or something that would involve Jeff McNeil, well, that kind of puts that out of the question now. Jeff McNeil is definitely going to play second base now, but honestly, I don't know. Like, I have no confidence in Brett Baty or Mark Vientos at third base at all. Now, if you put Mark Vientos' bat and Brett Baty, as somewhat of an okay defensive player, maybe I could think about it. But there is no confidence at third base at this point. And it comes down to what Stern said, in-house options. And I truly believe in-house option meant Ronny Mauricio is going to win the third base job. I always felt that way, that's what David Stearns meant, in just a nicer way, in saying, Baty sucks, Vientos sucks, and Joey Wendell's a backup. Like, we don't have nobody at third base that you can trust. And that's a huge problem. Well, I mean, Explosive, I'm not going to say that. He's young. And look, you saw Ronald Acuna come back from an ACL, and he just got the stolen base record. So many stolen bases. So it's not that concerning. These guys can come back for it. I'm not worried about 2025, him coming back. He'll come back. He'll do the rehab. He'll work out. He's very young. So I'm not worried about that aspect of it. But the issue is now, 2024, what are we going to do at third base? There's a huge hole there now. Again, a lot of people are like, oh, don't give up on Brett Baty. Okay, I'm not giving up on Brett Baty. But you can't tell me as a Met fan that you're confident going into 2024 with Brett Baty as your starting third baseman. Like, if you're confident in that, then I don't know what you've been watching for the last year and 6 months when Brett Baty actually had opportunities. Because all I saw from Brett Baty was hitting the ball on the ground a lot, not putting that ball in the air when he hits. He has a hard time getting that ball up in the air. And then when he goes back to the minor leagues, he rakes in his hits, home runs. So what does that tell me at the moment with Brett Baty? He's a quadruple A player. And that's basically what he is right now. Again, can he change that perspective of what we think of him right now? Absolutely. He's still young, but still, it's an issue. And again, find me New York Yankees that play in the offseason, Winter Ball League. And let's not act like they don't have Dominican players or, Latin American players who would probably love to play in their home countries or, in the Dominican Winter League, the Puerto Rican League, the Venezuelan League. But they don't. They don't allow them to. The same reason why, if you have injury concerns, the Yankees don't let their players go to the WBC or any other off-season league. The Mets need to start doing that because it's starting to hurt us. Because for the last 2 seasons, we lost our closer, and now we most likely lost our starting third baseman. And again, it's just frustrating because did anybody believe that Ronny Mauricio was going to be okay? Like, really? Probably not. All right, Jeff, come on. Relax, all right? That is the big problem that I'm starting to have with this organization. You got to tell these players no. Like, Ronny Mauricio can practice at third base in Port St. Lucie, get a couple of minor leaguers there. I guarantee you throw them a couple of $1,000, they'll show up in the offseason to play some inter-squad games with these minor leaguers and let them play there. I'm so sick and tired of our guys getting hurt not wearing a Mets uniform. It's just annoying. It's just annoying. Yeah, look, I tore my ACL in college. I did it drastically different than what Ronny Mauricio did. Ronny Mauricio just, planted his right foot and his knee just buckled. I mean, it sucks. I mean, you do that 10,000 times in baseball, and that one time it's just going to buckle. You know, me in college, I slid into second base, stealing a base, and at the time when I was in college, you weren't allowed to slide head first. You weren't allowed to. Like there was a rule in college that you weren't allowed to, just to protect from injuries from the face, the hands, the fingers, and you were only allowed to slide feet first. I slid feet first into second base. My knee jammed in second base, and I blew out my left ACL. And I was done for a full year. I think I came back in 11 months, if I'm not mistaken. So, and I was the playoff game in college, so I missed a lot of the season the following year. But I was never the speedy type, but it affected my game. I was a third baseman. It affected my mobility going left and right. It wasn't easy. I was always thinking in the back of my head, back of my mind, hey, be careful, because one wrong step left, one wrong step right, you can pop it again. So, all right, hold on. I'm just checking the comments, guys. Give me a second. Well, see, I like Justin Turner as well, but he didn't play a lot of games in Boston at third base. Remember, Rafael Devers was there. He played a lot of DH, but can you put him in there? See, here's the problem that I have. I have an awful feeling that David Stearns and the Mets brass is going to say, well, Baty has a good opportunity. Again, Vientos is working with Lindor. I love to see the work ethic and everything else, but it's not like he hasn't been trying in the minor leagues and practicing in the minor leagues all these years that he was in the farm system with the Mets, Vientos. He hasn't gotten better. He's still a problem on the field. He is a bona fide DH. He is not a fielder. He has no position. Like Vientos barely can play first base. He's projected as a third baseman, but he did not look good at third base when he got his opportunities to do so. Brett Baty was supposed to be decent, at least serviceable at third base. He hasn't been serviceable. His bat is a joke. Like, I would like Vientos' bat in a lineup, but you got to catch the ball. I mean, so I just don't know, guys. So if you're just tuning in, we got some breaking news. Ronny Mauricio has a torn ACL, right? Knee torn ACL, will be out the whole season. Won't see him until 2025. And that puts a big, big black hole at third base. That in-house third base competition got a little bit smaller. And right now it's Brett Baty, Mark Vientos, and at some kind of way, Joey Wendell as well. So I would not be shocked if you can hear the Mets starting to look at third base options outside of the organization. Oh, good. Big new, a big name, medium type of name, not a big, maybe somebody that everybody knows, but is not, earth shattering how good he is. Will the Mets look to try to trade for Alex Bregman or bring in a Turner, bring in a guy like that? We'll have to wait and see. All right. Well, explosive, maybe they won't. But at the same time, guess what? I have a feeling what David Stearns is going to do. He's going to say, well, we have options at third base in-house. And they're going to go to Baty, Vientos, and probably Joey Wendell. I mean, wonderful. And that just leads me to Justin Turner, only because, yes, he's older. He's 38 years old. But he could play third base, a couple of days a week if need be. And, if Baty starts showing something, you can just move Justin Turner to the DH spot, and that solves multiple positions. So, Mets fan, it's a season-ending injury. That ACL injury takes at least a year. Like, the surgery, the recovery time alone is like 6 months. Baty Baty might be good in the minor leagues. He hasn't shown that he can be good in the major league level. That's the problem. That's the unfortunate part. Roberto, member, thank you so much. No, Ron, he hasn't shown it at the big league level, buddy. He hasn't at all. In the minor leagues, absolutely. He rakes in the minor leagues, but I don't care what he does in the minor leagues. That honestly means nothing to me. I can say that Mark Vientos shown more with the bat than Brett Baty with less chances. Well, Ron, I see his numbers, and he's been bad defensively, and it's just I don't have no confidence if Brett Baty is going to be the starting third baseman. I don't. Now, can he surprise us? Absolutely. He's still young enough to change it all around and figure things out. I'm not saying he can't, but if you're gonna, if you tell me my life depended on it, I would be a little worried about putting Brett Baty at third base right away. No, Ron, he hasn't had good strong at bats. He's missed a lot of balls. He still can't hit breaking balls. He hits too many balls on the ground. And for a guy who's a line drive hitter, who is a gap to gap hitter in the major leagues, he's shown that he can't get the ball. He can't get the ball in the air on a consistent basis. His big problem in the majors have been hitting too many. He's been hitting hard ground balls, but too many ground balls. When you're a gap to gap hitter that's shown power in the minors, you can't do that here. You got to have a little bit of that launch angle, and you got to get that ball up in the air. Yeah, Ron, I understand we're very impatient, but again, you can't have a guy. Again, we're continuing to not worrying about winning and developing. The minor leagues are for developing. Major league teams are for proven players. Could we stop this? This is so annoying to me when Met fans continue to say, oh, play the kids, play the kids. Are you trying to win, or are you a developmental program? Are the Mets trying to win, or they're going to be a developmental program? Because if that's the case, then what the hell are we wasting our time here for? Right? Why are people buying season tickets? Why am I buying season tickets? Why am I going to games? I want to win. All right? I don't want to see unproven players get opportunities where they don't deserve it. It's just that simple. It's not that hard to figure out. Right? You have a farm system, you have a minor league system to develop the players. Brett Baty's shown enough in the minors to get the opportunity at the big league level. He's failed at this moment. You can't just throw him out there and say, oh, he'll be okay. He'll be okay. And then when you're 15 games under 500 and Baty's one of the big reasons why you're having problems offensively, well, guess what? What are you going to do then? You're going to wait for next year again and say, oh, we got to wait? No. The minor leagues are for development. Once they've shown they can do it in the minors, you get your opportunity. At some point, your opportunity goes away. Right? Met fans are similar to Jet fans who still want to give Zach Wilson chances. It's the same problem. At least with the NFL, they don't have a minor league. It's simple process. Minor leagues, development. Major leagues, proven. We are not the Baltimore Orioles. We are not the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're not the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're not the Cleveland Guardians. You can't just bring up these kids because, oh, it's the right thing to do. Because you're trying to win. If you're not trying to win, then why are we wasting our time here? All of us. Rock, I mean, it can be multiple. If the Mets are going to look for a trade, if the Mets are going to look for a free agent option that can play multiple positions. I brought up Justin Turner. He's older, but he can play 3-4 days a week at third base and also can be your DH as well. That can be an option. I'm not saying it's a great option, but look at the numbers that Justin Turner put up last year. He had, 20 plus runs and 90 plus RBIs in 140 plus games. A lot of that was DH. I understand that, but I'd rather have a guy that I know who can play third base and can actually hit the ball than a young kid who is still trying to find his ground. Again, are you trying to win? That's the question you got to ask, right? Impatient has nothing to do with it. And Ron, we're going to get third base. Ron, I wouldn't take Baty over Turner right now. I wouldn't. Because you can't tell me that Baty's going to put numbers like Justin Turner could. I don't believe that at all. Because Baty has not shown the power that he's shown in the minor leagues, non-existent with the Mets so far. Can that change? Absolutely. But how many more times are you going to give Baty opportunities? Like I said, you're trying to win. The major leagues is not for development. Like, that's why you have the minor leagues. Baty is in the middle right now. He's a quadruple A player. He can dominate triple A pitching and minor league pitching. When he gets to the majors, he struggles. That's, at the moment, a failed major leaguer right now. And that's the biggest problem. What are the Mets going to do now at third base? Are they just going to let roll with Baty? Well, then, you know what? Don't sign Yoshinobu Yamamoto because you're wasting the money. What's the point? What's the point? Like, honestly. Roberto, I've been saying that. I've been saying that the whole time. The Yankees don't allow their players to play in the offseason. If they're going to practice or work out, it's always at their facilities. All right? That's the problem I have. We let Ronny Mauricio, we let this guy, that guy, WBC, blah, blah, blah. It's too risky. Too risky. Just say no. If they don't like it, just tell them who signs your checks every 2 weeks. I do. You're not playing. You want to play? You want to practice? Go get a coach. Go get a couple of minor leaguers and go to Port St. Lucie in the Mets complex and practice 100 ground balls a day at third base. Go in the batting cage. Let somebody throw 99 and sliders and changeups and curveballs, and you work out that way. You tell me you can't get better because it's not game experience? Come on. Seriously? Like that's a ridiculous situation. There's too much risk involved for a player continuing to play all year round. It's too much risk, and it's not worth it. And the Mets, once again, being a player-oriented organization and being yes men, bit them in the ass once again. For a guy who is probably going to be a starting third baseman. And now the Mets are going to go with question marks at third base. Mark Vientos, question mark. Brett Baty, I don't care what anybody says. He's a question mark. You can't be confident in Brett Baty. Now, I'm not saying he can't be good. But if you're going to be going with Brett Baty, you better provide other options offensively for this lineup, just in case Brett Baty is a complete disaster offensively, because he has not been good. Barely batting 200, shown no power at the big league level. Ron, I hope so. I hope you're freaking right. I hope you're right. Believe me, Ron, I want you to be right. But he's shown nothing. He hits too many ground balls for a guy who's a gap-to-gap hitter who shows power in the minor leagues. You can't be a gap-to-gap hitter and can't get the ball off the ground. It doesn't work like that. Well, Joel, that's what I've been saying. He dominates AAA and minor league pitching. He has not dominated anything, even defensively. Like, that has nothing to do with the majors or minors. It's baseball. You either are a good defender or you're not. Yeah, you can work on it, but this is not – the Mets are on a reclamation project here. We're trying to win. If you're not trying to win, then you know what? Sit all the good players down. Bring up Jet Williams. Bring up Parada. Bring up this guy. Bring up anybody you want. Acuna, Gilbert. Let them play. Let them develop here. Because why? Who cares? I mean, you're playing the kids. All right? Everybody's not the Atlanta Braves. You got to get very lucky to get that many prospects to actually be good at the big league level at the same time. It rarely happens. It's an anomaly. We got to stop this situation here. We got to stop it. Yeah, Paul, it's not good. It's not. It's a real problem. Explosive, I don't know anymore. Gleyber Torres. Yeah, but the Yankees don't care about Gleyber Torres because they're not signing him anyway, and they don't believe he's a good player. Every year you hear they're gonna trade him. So, my season tickets are in 515. Last year they were in 514. Now they're gonna be in 515. So yeah. Yeah, Moringa, I agree. Unfortunately. All right, guys. So let's finish this up here. The breaking news, why I'm live. Torn ACL, right knee torn ACL for Ronny Mauricio, out for the season. And we won't see him until 2025. Got hurt in the Dominican Winter League on Sunday by trying to steal a base or faking to steal a base, plants his foot, knee buckles, and season is over. Jeff, it's what I do. If the Mets miraculously make the playoffs, I get the playoff ships earlier, so I like that. So that's what I do, unfortunately. All right, guys. So torn ACL for Ronny Mauricio. Now the question is, what are the third base options? They're more limited than what they were 48 hours ago. Because I believe David Stearns believed Ronny Mauricio was going to be the third baseman, but was just being nice and saying in-house third base competition. So Baty, Vientos, Joey Wendell at the moment. I'm not confident any of those three. I don't know how anybody can. Yeah, Ron, I understand that. He got a great eye. That's wonderful. But I don't need Baty to walk. All right. He's shown power. He's shown gap to gap batting with gap to gap hitting. And we need power from him. All right. I can find guys that can have good eyes at the plate and bat 212. I can find a lot of those guys. The fact of the matter is Baty needs to be better. You can't be a top 10 prospect and, be a shell of yourself when you make the majors. We'll see. I hope that Baty shows up. But look for the Mets to bring in somebody. I don't know if it's going to be free agency or trade. Somebody who is actually proven that can play the position. With that said, torn ACL for Ronny Mauricio. I have a video coming out at 4 o'clock for just this specific issue. And I made this video not based on Ronny Mauricio injury at all, even though it actually led up to it, and I brought it up in the video. But it is interesting to think that I made this video not really worrying about the injury, but how it can help the team. Now, it's almost a necessity at this point. 4 o'clock video will be coming up. So make sure you tune into that. With that said, guys, another somber, unfortunate breaking news for the Mets. Ronny Mauricio torn ACL, back-to-back years. Edwin Diaz WBC injury. Now Ronny Mauricio in the Dominican Winter League. I don't know what to tell you guys, except let's hope for the best, I guess. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, Met fans, let's go Mets. 4 p.m. video coming up. Check it out, guys. See you next time.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball.